President Obama claims that America is neutral on the issue of the Falkland Islands. Is this the correct position to take? And what does it say about America and President Obama himself? We'll analyze this next.
And in terms of the Maldives
Y en cuanto
or the Falklands,
a
whatever your
las
preferred term,
Malvinas,
our
las
position on this
Falklands, como
is
quieran llamarles, nuestra postura
that,
en este sentido es que
that we are going to remain neutral. We have good
vamos a
relations with both
mantener la neutralidad.
Argentina
Tenemos
and Great Britain,
buenas relaciones tanto con Argentina
and,
como con
we are
el Reino Unido.
looking forward to them
Y
being able to continue to dialogue on this issue. But this is not
anticiparemos
something that we
positivamente la
typically
posibilidad de
entertain.
que ellos mantengan.
When I first saw this clip, it reminded me of a saying that the great historian Bernard Lewis said, which was, America could be harmless to its enemies and treacherous to its friends. We'll ignore the fact that President Teleprompter is mixing up one group of islands, the Maldives, with La Malavinas, which is the Argentinian name for the Falklands. Let's actually analyze whether his position of neutrality actually makes any sense, whether it's as treacherous as Bernard Lewis claims. Now, in the case of the Falklands have been British, or the British have maintained a permanent colony there since 1840, which is actually longer than Texas, for example, has been a state in the Union. The people there wish to remain British and have voted repeatedly to do so and have given no indication they wish to join the basket case of Argentina. What's more, the Falkland Islands have been British even before modern Argentina has even existed. If there was any question to the Falkland Islands and who it belongs to, the Falkland Islands War settled the issue. Wars have consequences, and when Britain has shown that it has the will and the means to protect its citizens who wish to remain British, that settles the issue. Britain had international law on its side, and bottom line is Falkland Islands are British, lock, stock, and barrel, full stop. But that's the legal and historical argument, and that's not really bothers me, I suppose, about this. What bothers me is America and how it treats its allies, and particularly the British. When President Obama was making this mistake on his teleprompter, British soldiers were fighting and dying alongside their American brothers in Afghanistan. In the past, it was Britain who's America's greatest ally when America overthrew Saddam Hussein. And I don't think you can think of a stronger ally that America has had in its history, except for the very beginning when there was the Revolutionary War, than the British. Now, compare this to Argentina. If you were an immigrant after World War II looking to escape the devastation of the war, you really had two choices. You could come to North America or you could come to South America, because both at that time were kind of primed for taking off. Now, what happened, obviously, is Canada and the US took off in one direction, and Argentina and its South American neighbors went in the other. And what happened in South America is they were kind of taken over by leaders sort of characterized by Juan and Evita Perón, who kind of believed in a progressive statism. They blamed the rich for everything, they blamed foreign investors, they nationalized everything, they nationalized the British railroads, they nationalized the American telephone system, took over energy companies, and of course they did it all for the poor. But no one ever realized, or no one seemed to take the long view, that in the process they were making Argentina from one of the richest countries in the world, which it was prior to and just after World War II, into almost a third world basket case. And when you do that, and you're a leader, you look for scapegoats. And that's essentially what Argentinian leaders have done now with the Falklands. The current Argentinian president, Cristina Fernandez, is now carrying on this sad Argentinian tradition. She recently nationalized the largest, and when I say nationalized, I mean stole, the largest Argentinian energy producer, which is YPF, which is largely Spanish owned. And of course he's now making saber rattling noises against the Falkland Islands. And what's more, she's rallying the other South American countries to kind of be against the British and trying to put pressure on the Falklands by cutting off their communications, transportation, etc. And it just seems to me that Britain could really use its friends right now. And if we can't count on if Britain can't count on the US the U.S. says, oh, it's going to be neutral. I mean, who can it count on? In Canada, in my country, off the coast of Newfoundland, there's actually two small islands that are actually French. They are Saint Pierre and Miquelon. They're really a historical oddity, but they're the last remnants of France's colonial empire in North America. Now, despite this, they're happy to remain French, and Canada has never had the slightest desire to invade them. And things kind of work out quite well. Now, of course, Canada is a civilized and prosperous country and doesn't really have any need to play these Argentinian games. So let's sum it all up. The Falkland Islands are British by any historical or legal measure you want to make. And what's more, Britain is America's greatest ally and could really use its help right now on this particular issue. Despite all this, President Obama, in his famous nuanced ways, has pronounced that America is neutral on the issue. And in my case, and my thoughts on this are that this is just absolutely shameful. It shames him, and it shames the great nation that he leads. And unfortunately, he's proving what Bernard Lewis said is correct. America can be harmless to its enemies and absolutely treacherous to its friends. And I think America deserves better.
And in terms of the Maldives
Y en cuanto
or the Falklands,
a
whatever your
las
preferred term,
Malvinas,
our
las
position on this
Falklands, como
is
quieran llamarles, nuestra postura
that,
en este sentido es que
that we are going to remain neutral. We have good
vamos a
relations with
mantener la
both
neutralidad.
Argentina
Tenemos
and Great Britain,
buenas relaciones tanto con Argentina
and,
como con
we are
el Reino Unido.
looking forward to them
Y
being able to continue to dialogue on this issue. But this is not
anticiparemos
something that we
positivamente la
typically
posibilidad de
intervene.
que ellos mantengan